The headline from the New York Times opinion section reads, "It's time to put this Catholic teaching to rest." For over 1,000 years, the Catholic Church has held to what's known as just war theory, the idea that armed conflict can be morally justified under strict conditions. It must be defensive, alternatives must be exhausted, force must be proportional, and success must be likely. It's a framework developed by St. Augustine in the 5th century and refined by St. Thomas Aquinas in the 13th. And now, for the first time, a sitting pope is calling it outdated. Pope Leo XIV, in his inaugural encyclical titled Magnificat Humanitas, devoted a brief but striking passage to just war theory, declaring it no longer fit for the modern world. The encyclical was primarily focused on protecting human dignity in the age of artificial intelligence, but Leo used it to make a pointed argument: the weapons and destructive capacity available to humanity today were simply unimaginable when this teaching was first written. The Pope wasn't speaking in the abstract. In remarks made en route to Madrid in early June, Leo was asked directly whether a just war was being waged in Iran. His answer was blunt: the criteria for a just war are not present. Leo's encyclical stopped short of proposing an entirely new framework for justifying war. Instead, it all but rules war out. He wrote that humanity has far more effective and capable tools for promoting human life and resolving conflicts, such as dialogue, diplomacy, and forgiveness, and that the use of force always has disastrous consequences for civilian populations. Artificial intelligence plays a central role in Leo's argument. He contended that autonomous weapons systems make war more feasible and less subject to human control, and since only humans are capable of making moral judgments, machines making battlefield decisions violates the very principle that armed force should be a last resort. The political dimension here is hard to ignore. Vice President J.D. Vance, who is Catholic, initially pushed back on the Pope, citing the long tradition of just war theory in response to Leo's April social media post that read, "God does not bless any conflict." Vance later walked that back at a commencement speech at the Air Force Academy, praising the encyclical and acknowledging the need for an update given new technologies in warfare. The author of this piece, James Grimaldi, a Pulitzer Prize winner and former executive editor of the National Catholic Reporter, argues the Church is uniquely positioned to build a new intellectual framework here, given its millennia of moral reasoning and its presence in virtually every conflict zone on Earth. He notes that a formal consistory, a gathering of the Pope's cardinals at the Vatican, was set to take up the overhaul of just war teaching, and he urged the cardinals not to merely discuss the issue but to act on it. At its core, Grimaldi writes, the argument Leo and his predecessors are making is simple: war is fundamentally antithetical to the gospel of Jesus Christ. This is a story about ancient doctrine colliding with modern warfare and one institution deciding that 1,000 years of teaching may no longer be enough to meet this moment.